So after you go to classroom.google.com, you'll be met with your class page, and these are where all your classes will be. And to start a class, you'll click the plus button and you click create class. Or you could be joining a class, but in this case we're going to create a class. You type your name in, your section, and your subject. And since I've already done that, I'm going to come here to the one I've created. And so this is your stream, and this is where your announcements, your assignments, and other materials will come up as you're posting them for student view. The student tab is where you can invite and look at your students. And so if you wanted to invite students to your class, the best way to do it is display this in class so that they can type this class code in once they join the class. You can also full screen it by clicking this button here and then taking it back down and exiting out. We also want to talk about the guardians, and we'll do that once I join the class and show you what you can do there. And then on the About page, this is where you can add class materials. So if I wanted to add a syllabus, I would type in syllabus and I would add that from my drive or upload it from my computer itself. So I could actually go to my drive and then pull it from here, or I could just have it uploaded directly from my computer. I can add all kinds of different things. Your About page is kind of useful for things that are ongoing and going to stay there throughout the entire course of the class. Another thing you can do from the About page is go to the class drive folder. In this folder, you'll find assignments that are from students, and I'll show you what that looks like in just a minute. And then you also have your classroom calendar and your Google Calendar. So they're kind of both. The classroom calendar is kind of set up by day, and it'll show when assignments are due for students. And you can actually navigate through all your class calendars right here. Going back to the class, the last thing is you can look at it on your Google Calendar as well. So if I click that here, this shows up on my Google Calendar. So anything that I have due will actually show up in the color that I have it. So that burgundy looking color there, they'll show up during the dates here. Alright, so going back to the main page here, you can also invite teachers to be co-teachers. So if I start typing in an email address, you can get those there, and you can click on them and invite them to be part of your class. Your email shows up here, so when they want to email you, they click that button and it does that it'll go to their email, and then they can actually type an email to you. So that's another thing that they can do. You can click this and you can actually edit the name of the class here. So on the About page, if you decided this is not the name of the class you want, or your description wasn't right, or where does the class meet, if those kind of things were not the way you wanted them, you could actually go back and change those. And going back to the stream, we'll talk about what we can do here. You can actually select a theme. You can actually change your theme. So you can pick any from there, or you can do a pattern. And just click select, and then it'll change to that for you. You can also upload a photo for your class theme, and it'll automatically change the colors based on the photo that you upload. So here's the plus button for what you're actually going to use for the students. You click create announcement. So I can actually say this is a discussion, and I can actually create a topic for this. I can say this is part of the discussions, and so this is what I can do. I can schedule it. I can save it as a draft if I'm not ready to actually post it, or I can just schedule it and say, okay, I want this to go out on the 18th at 8 a.m. or I can change that time if I wanted to. I could say it's 7 a.m. So I can actually schedule that to go out. Okay. Kids won't see this, or your students won't see this, but on your save post is where the scheduled posts are. So if I ever want to say, okay, you know what, instead of scheduling that, or instead of having it scheduled this way, I can actually cancel it by clicking the X. I can delete it off if I don't want it to be a scheduled post. And if I actually do it now, go back to discussion. So this is discussion 1. It's going to all students. So here is a way you can differentiate, and I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. But you can actually select students. If there's multiple students in your list, you can actually pick from them. So I'm going to go ahead and post this. And so that post was just created. What students can do to see it is they'll get the same update that Stream was updated. They can click show, And then here's where they could actually write some comments. So this is where they could post their comments. They could do the same thing. And then you have a running discussion. And so if you go to discussion, too many S's there, I actually need to rename that. There we go. So you can actually have a running board of discussion 1, and it's in the discussion topic. So all your discussions, if you put them in the discussion topic, they'll go there even though they're separate discussions. Okay, so that's one thing you can do. You can also create an assignment, and this could also be a discussion if you wanted it to be, but maybe this is write a paper about World War II. Okay, so I give some instructions. And I can actually assign a due date. So then I can go to maybe I want to do on the 20th at 11:59. Okay, and I can actually create a topic. I can say this is the history assignment that they're going to be doing, and then I can click assign. I can also attach a file for them to all make a copy, but what I like to do is I like to assign it. And now we're going to go look from a student view. To my student view, I can click add. I can click join class, and then I can paste in that class code that we looked at earlier, and I'm going to join that class. And so here you'll see where I can add my own comment as a student and post that. So we can, we can have that running discussion between teacher and student. Also, I can open this assignment up, and when I do that, what I like to do is I like to do the create. Now I can add something, like if I've worked on it previously, like if they knew what their directions were and they were typing it up, they could add their assignment from their Google Drive, a link or a file, or they could create their assignment. And that's what I like to do, is have them create it. The reason is because most of the time it's going to be one of these 4 things anyways that they're doing if they're working inside of Google. But if you're working in a class where they have to work in other types of documents, then they can actually use the add feature. So either way would be fine. So we're going to do a doc since this is a paper. And it creates a doc for me. So if I click that, I can say this is my paper. Exit out. And right here I can say turn in. So this is an important thing to say that your students need to do. They need to turn in. So I click turn in. Click turn in again. It's asking me, am I sure that I want to do that? And now I'm done. So we're going to go back to teacher view just to show you what it looks like there. So there's the student now that is joining my class, and what I actually can do, there's some actions I can take just to show you what you can do before we look at that document, is I can remove or I can mute them. If I mute them, they can't make classroom discussions, so maybe you have a student that needs to be muted because they don't need to be having discussions anymore. Alright, so going to the stream and looking at the assignments, it shows that 1 is done and 0 not done because I only have 1 student. If you have 20 students, as they mark it done, it'll be like 15 done and 5 not done, that kind of thing. So if I click on this, I can actually look at their assignment from here. If I click on that, and I get a view of what they have. Now it automatically goes into edit mode. So even though I'm the teacher, I can automatically edit. So just a quick thing, we'll do this in Google Docs, but probably a good thing to change to suggesting or viewing so that you don't mess up their paper. All right, so I've looked at this, I've done my markups, I've graded it, I exit out, and I can actually give them a score. So I can type in 100, they did a good job, they did exactly what I asked them to do. Another thing that you can do is you can differentiate. You can click return, and so if I had multiple students, I could check them off over here, and then I could come here and type in a private comment to them to kind of let them know that they've done a good job and return it to them. Another thing I can do is I can actually email the selected students. So I could do that, and it'll take me to my email, and I can type up an email. But the best thing to do is just do it through Google Classroom. Good job. And again, you could select certain students to say this to, or you could select multiple, or however you want to do that. So I click return, and now it gives me a running list of who has it. And so this student now will know that they made 100. They can go in and look at their grade to know how they've done. Okay, so And that's grading an assignment. The next thing is creating a question. So this is more or less for like a really quick snapshot and overview of students. So there's some things you can do. You can do short answer or multiple choice, and it just kind of depends on what you're wanting to do. You can also add a due date. You can add a topic. I can say this is my ticket out the door. So that's the topic. I can select if students want to be able to edit, or if students can reply to each other. Depends on what you're wanting to do. So on this one, I wouldn't want students to reply to each other. I just want to know, you know, what they know and what they don't. I can add a due date and a due time. So maybe today, before they leave class. So maybe this class ends at 2:30. I can have it scheduled to do at 2:30 p.m. Today, and then they have to do it right then. So I can actually schedule this also. So maybe you know what ticket outdoor question you want to ask tomorrow, and you can go ahead and schedule it to actually open up at that time, or I can just go ahead and ask it. And so it's similar to the assignments. They'll have to click on it, and then they'll actually answer, and then they'll have to say turn in or done to get the assignment submission. And you'll do the same thing that you did with the regular assignment. You'll notice over here on the side, I have topics now. So anytime I do something, it's good to put a topic on it so that if for review purposes, maybe it's Unit 1, maybe everything you do for Unit 1 goes in the Unit 1 topic, they can go back and review all of the Unit 1 stuff, and then they can look at just that. So that's a good thing to kind of keep up with and stay up with. Another thing is you can have the deleted items to show. So maybe you've deleted something and you didn't want to. You can actually show them so that you can go back and look at those. One thing we didn't talk about is the Guardians. So I can actually turn this on. I can add this class. This is my personal account. You won't be able to see the button here, but the button is Invite Guardian. You click on that and you type in the email address of the Guardian that you want it to be. Also, your school administrators can actually assign APIs to where every student automatically has a Guardian that's assigned to them. That's pretty much everything with Google Classroom. The one extra thing I want to show you is that when you do click on a student's name, you can actually have a running tally of things that they are missing and things that are graded, as well as comments and attachments. So you can actually click on Turned In. You can find out things that are turned in, things that you've returned with a grade, and things that are missing. I really like these two features. These kind of help you keep up as a teacher. If something's turned in and it's still sitting here, that means you have not graded it yet. And then if it's returned with grade, it comes here. So that kind of helps you keep up. And then again, missing is just they did not turn it in. That's Google Classroom in a nutshell. If you have questions, please ask.